Welcome to Creepy Joe's Horror Show! With special guest, Slip Rick the Skeleton.
It's not my fault the babes like me, man.
Also, Flo.
Perverts.
And don't forget about your legendary loser host himself, Creepy Joe.
Welcome to Creepy Joe's Horror Show. Tonight we have Bad Taste from 1987.
Bad Taste is a 1987 New Zealand science fiction comedy horror film, directed, produced, and filmed by Peter Jackson, who also stars in and co-wrote the screenplay along with Tony Howes and Ken Hammond. Independently produced on a low budget, it is Jackson's first feature film. Jackson and friends take on most of the key roles, both on and off screen. The plotline sees aliens invade a fictional New Zealand village of Kaihoro to harvest humans for their intergalactic fast food franchise, where they face off against a four-man paramilitary force. The film provided Jackson with the leverage necessary to advance in the film industry.
All right. Well, tonight we have Bad Taste. This is long overdue. I should have done this a long time ago. This is one of my all-time favorites from when I was a kid. It's one of the goofiest movies I've ever seen when I was a kid, so it kind of stuck in my brain. And I didn't even really see it as a horror movie when I was a kid either, but it is technically, you know, on the cusp of horror, I guess. You know, I mean, there's a lot of horror aspects to it. I mean, a lot of the gore and, you know, the blood. I guess it is, you know, pretty graphic in its own funny way. But more sci-fi comedy than anything. But it's notably, you know, it's a great movie, you know, and it's Peter Jackson's first film. Now, if you never heard of Peter Jackson, then crawl out of the rock that you're living under, because you had to have heard of The Lord of the Rings, or The Hobbit, or, you know, Frighteners, King Kong. I mean, there's endless amounts of movies that he directed, produced, wrote, acted in. I mean, he's an actor as well. He's in a lot of these movies as well. But Peter Jackson is, you know, one of the greatest directors of my generation. Well, a couple generations actually. But before we move on, I want to cover the actors in this movie, because the actors aren't really known. They're only really in this movie. I don't think that they played in anything else. I could be wrong. They might have played in one or two other secret films that, you know, you can't find anywhere. But you know, we have Terry Potter, who plays Ozzy, and we have Gene. We have Pete O'Hearn. I think I'm saying that correctly. And he plays Barry. Craig Smith, who plays, I want to say it's pronounced Gills. And then Mike Minette, or it might be Mike Minette. I'm not sure, but plays Frank. And you know, and then you have Peter Jackson there, who you know, stars in the film as well. He plays the goofy alien. I don't even know if he has a name, to be honest. And I've seen this movie like 100 times, but it's one of those movies that, you know, it kind of just goes by, and you're like, what the hell? What the hell did I just watch? Now, when you first start watching this movie, you don't even know if they're aliens. You don't really know what they are. They're just humans, you know, walking around. They almost look like zombies. They have one of the zombies, aliens, captured, hanging on a line, hanging off a cliff.
Well, I would describe him as sort of...
And the other one's chasing after the other guy. they call these guys in like it's the movie starts very early on. It's like at a, you don't know if it's a police station or a government base or something, and they're calling in the boys.
This is a job for real men.
Which are these guys, and you know, to pretty much save the world, I guess. And they're being chased around by these zombies, and these zombies are really dumb. You think they're zombies. They're not zombies. Don't get mad at me, you know, bad taste lovers out there. But yeah, they're aliens. But walk around like zombies. Like the one guy even has an axe, and he's chasing them, and it gets stuck in the side of a garage, and like he can't even move. That's how like kind of zombie like dumb they are.
Stop! This is definitely your last chance.
The alien that's hanging off the side of the cliff is Peter Jackson, and the other guy starts torturing him by pounding a sword or a long bayonet in the bottom of his foot. And then when he makes his loud alien cry, whatever the hell it is, it attracts all the other guys. So, to make a very long story short, first of all, I want to point out that this movie, okay, if you pay attention to cinematography and if you pay attention to, you know, the way things are filmed, like shot by shot by shot of how things are done, this movie's actually done really well. And I can see why Peter Jackson, you know, this was kind of like his preamble to becoming something much larger and to where he is today, because he had it. Like he knew, you know, even though he had a very, very low budget, he made it extremely interesting and he made it very exciting at times. You know, like when Giles is in his car and Peter Jackson is coming towards him to attack him, and you know it goes from shot, he's in the car, and then he's trying the ignition, it gets a shot of the ignition, gets a shot of, he's winding up the window, dude's hand, Peter Jackson's hand stuck in the window, and it's just shot by shot. You know, it's an agonizing, like you're like, oh man, like it builds up the suspense, and I mean it's there, like he has the talent. It's clear that he's a talented, you know, writer, director, you know, because he wrote that sequence as well. So he knew what he was doing early on, and I think that everybody recognized that. But to make a long story short, these guys end up finding the base of the aliens. They're based in this historic house.
6 of our co-workers in a state of permanent death.
Their home base is at this historic house, and which is also a spaceship, which you don't know that till, you know, pretty much the very end. And they basically, it's drawn out. They sneak in, the guys sneak in, and they take out a couple of the aliens and then dress like them, and then they're listening in on their meeting and their plot to take over, you know, this neighborhood. All the bodies of the neighbors of the neighborhood of the town are all in boxes.
My God, the blood!
Peter Jackson barfs up this green, you know, it looks like green, just looks like green goop, but it has like cereal. It almost looks like it has like Fruity Pebbles mixed in it, and they're all taking turns drinking his puke. Frank's in there, and Ozzy is peeking through the door laughing at him because he has to drink it, and then he ends up liking it and taking a second sip, which is great. That's actually, talk about memorable moments. Like most movies that I talk about, the memorable moments are at the end, because that's the climatic end of, you know, every movie. The end's always usually the best. But in this movie, that's my favorite part. That's the most memorable moment because you can picture yourself the anxiety of being in that room and having to drink this shit that's in this bowl. And dude has to, you know, take one for the team and drink it. He keeps skipping the line, and like it finally gets to the end of the line, he has to do it, and then he ends up liking it, which is priceless. But yeah, so that's my favorite part of the movie. So we got that over with, and it's just a huge gunfight. It's a huge gunfight. The whole movie is them basically being chased, and then they find the base, then they're attacking the base. It's full of a lot of really cheesy, purposely cheesy guys. You know, it's not like if you watch this movie, you don't expect to be watching Die Hard, you know, or like 007. It's meant to be like this, you know. It's ridiculously cheesy and funny. And they all stay human, you know, up until almost the very end. The aliens, anyway, like they look human. You know, they're just like zombies, like I said. But at the very end, they turn into these, you know, zombies. You're not even expecting it if you've never seen it, obviously. So the house goes up, the house / spaceship goes up, and Derek is still inside, which, you know, I haven't mentioned Derek much. He's probably the most memorable character. Peter Jackson's really funny in this as well, but Derek is, he hits his head, he falls down the cliff, and at the very beginning, and he kind of he stays out of the movie for like half the movie, like, because he cracks his head open, and every time he gets up, his head like unflaps. He has to pick up his brains and stick it back in his head, and then he can feel normal again. So he's trying to wear hats, belts around his head, and then that's the only way he can function. But he ends up coming back at the very end and cutting his way through the wall with a chainsaw. And when the spaceship goes up, everybody else gets out. You know, Frank and Ozzy get out, and they basically, Derek goes up into space with the lead alien, whatever, the commander of the aliens, and it's also like it's right up there with like the, you know, for most people would probably be the most memorable scene because it's hilarious. But he cuts a hole through the ceiling and jumps down through the alien's head and comes out its ass.
My spinning steel, shithead!
With the chainsaw first, and he's really enjoying it, by the way. And then the end shot is him going back to that alien's home planet, wearing the alien's face as a mask, kind of like some Leatherface action, but you know, thoroughly enjoying, you know, the fact that he just dove down through that dude's ass and now is sporting his face as a trophy.
I'm coming to get you, bastards!
Fantastic movie. I mean, I can't stress it enough. Yeah, it's definitely one of the great ones. I feel like with Peter Jackson being Peter Jackson, I have to just go down the list of some of his accomplishments because they're just too good not to mention, you know. So we're not going to go through the movies he produced and wrote because there's probably, like, overall there's probably over 100. So we're just going to go with you know, the movies that he directed. And he directed Heavenly Creatures in 1994, These aren't in any particular order. And then he did The Frighteners in 1996, which I love The Frighteners with Michael J. Fox. That's a great movie. Dead Alive in 1992, which is, you know, awesome. King Kong, he actually did both King Kongs. He did King Kong 2005 and 2010. I guess we'll speak out the obvious here. Well, no, I'll take care of the other ones first. Okay, so Lovely Bones in 2009. Lovely Bones is a really that's a really serious movie. You know, about a girl that gets kidnapped and ultimately murdered, which she gets abducted, a guy's daughter. I believe Mark Wahlberg's the dad in that. It's a really sad movie, and just goes to show how well-rounded Peter Jackson is. He can go from making, you know, Bad Taste to The Lovely Bones to making what's up next, The Lord of the Rings, which he did all three of those, obviously, and then he went on to do The Hobbits. So I think that's 10. Or no, he also, some of his first short film, which not too many people know about, is The Valley, which was made in 1976, and you know, you don't hear about that one. I've never seen it either, so I can't sit here and pretend like I know anything about it, because I don't. I just, you know, looked that up. But Meet the Feebles in 1989 as well, which I've never seen that. I haven't seen a lot of his work, and to be honest, I haven't seen all of the Hobbits. I haven't seen any of the Hobbit movies at all. You know, I saw The Lord of the Rings, all of those. I own them, but I'm not like, you know, I'm a horror fan, so like I don't really. I watch dramas every now and again, and comedies, of course, but, you know, I don't know why I haven't seen The Hobbit. It's not like I have anything against them. I'm going to see them eventually, I'm sure, in my lifetime. But, yeah, that's the end of, you know, the Bad Taste movie review, Creepy Joe's Horror Show. Thanks for hanging out with me, and until next time, stay creepy.
I see the gruel is ready.